So strength is your ability to exert force against resistance, whereas power is your ability to exert maximum force in the shortest amount of time possible. Strength is slower, typically with heavier loads. Power is faster, typically with lighter loads. But both are extremely important in the context of a comprehensive fitness routine. In today's video, I'm gonna go over my top 5 plyometric and power development exercises that anyone can do to build explosive strength, improve coordination, and enhance overall functional fitness, whether you're an athlete or just looking to move better in everyday life. Now, you might see one of these plyometric or power development exercises like this one and think to yourself,
that's not me.
I'm not an athlete, why would I need to do that? But what if I told you that power is the quality that declines the fastest, making it essential to train regularly to stay functional and capable, prevent falls and injuries, and stay agile in everyday movements? Now, in fact, the difficulty that most people experience getting up off a chair as they age isn't just about strength, it's more to do about a loss of power. Now, the best part about training for power for the average person is that it doesn't have to take hours. I simply do one power move after my mobility work and before my strength work, and it only takes me about 5 minutes, which I feel is a really good, worthwhile investment of time. So with all that being said, let's get into the first of my top 5 plyometric and power development exercises that I do on a weekly basis. All right, so the first move is going to be pogo hops. Now, hopefully I've convinced you about the benefits of plyometric training, power development training, overall training like an athlete. But before you go out and do crazy jumping moves, crazy jumping exercises, your body probably isn't going to be primed and prepared to do those movements. And that's why pogo hops are a huge staple in our Rise program and just something that I do on a weekly, even daily basis, because it just primes the joints, primes your body so much. It's basically like jump roping without a jump rope, all right? So if I'm right here, all you're doing is just popping up and down, like this. And the beauty of it is, you're so in control of the movement. So you can be lighter on your feet, like this, or you can jump higher and higher. You can even go further. You can even have more impact or less impact. So you can just dial it down or dial it up as much as you need to. But what you're getting is, as you're going through that movement, you're getting tons of benefits with your calves, your Achilles, your ankles, your feet. They're just getting warmed up. Good blood flow, good strengthening, good resiliency, good elasticity. Tons of benefits are happening. And we put this in our Rise program, and a lot of people are doing it. When they first do it, they're like, why am I doing this? This feels like nothing. This is like jump roping for sets of 10 reps and then stopping and resting. Why are we doing this? But that's the reason why. We're just developing a ton of capacity down here, and this is great prep work in order for you to do then jumping exercises that are more advanced, that are more impact. But then, even though you're doing that progression, you have this solid foundation built up from lots and lots of pogo hops. All right, so now I wanna go over some modifications and progressions for the pogo hop. So if the standing pogo hop is a little bit challenging for you, what you can do is just lean forward against the wall right here. And this wall is gonna be great support. And all you wanna do is just do some calf raises. And then you can start to get a little quicker over time. And then eventually you can pop up and down like this. All right, so that's an easy way to modify the movement if the regular one is gonna be a little bit too challenging. Now you can actually progress forward too by adding a bunch of movement. So you can go, let's say, bilateral, 2 feet, and you can go forward and back, like that. You can go side to side, all right? You can also go staggered stance. So you can go 1 foot in front of the other. You can go like this, back and forth, or switch sides, or go lateral, or even go forward and back with it. And then finally, you can go single leg. So you can have one leg up in the air, you can go stationary, forward and back, you can go lateral, you can even go up onto a plate with a bilateral or unilateral stance. All right, so tons of different ways that you can meet yourself where you're at with the pogo hop, but I really want you to make sure that you include this into your program. And I like to do this on a daily basis. It's not gonna take too much out of you. And I think 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 30 reps is all you really need to really prep those ankles. All right, so exercise number 2 is going to be the box jump. All right, so most of you are gonna be pretty familiar with the box jump. I'm sure you've seen people do it online or at your gym. I love to do the box jump after a mobility warm-up and before a lower body heavy day, especially if there are back squats or goblet squats, something squatty in nature, because doing this motion with a lot of power helps to prime my body for squats coming up ahead, and I just feel a lot stronger with it. So you're gonna be right here, and you wanna come down and kind of snap your arms down and drop into almost like a quarter to half squat position. So you're here, you load your body, you get these muscles on stretch, and then you jump up, and then you land. You don't have to land super softly, just a firm landing is fine. I just don't wanna hear like something like aggressive like that. All right, so you're here, come back, jump, and land. Okay? Now, a lot of people will actually be able to jump higher than they think, but they're gonna have a huge mental block. Maybe you've seen some of those fail videos online where people jump on the box and then they fall down, or maybe they scrape their shins. Like, you've probably heard some bad stories about box jumps, but they're super beneficial. Now, one benefit that they offer beyond even just a squat jump is that they cushion your landing basically. All right, so take a look at this. If I were to squat, let's say from this point, and I jump up in the air and I come all the way back down, I'm traveling a lot of distance, right? Whereas if I'm jumping up to a box, I jump up and then all that distance is cut off by the height of the box. So there's a lot less force, a lot less impact on my knees and ankles and feet. And that's why box jumps are super helpful, especially in the earlier stages of someone's plyometric and power development journey. Now, some of you are gonna have a mental block with the box jump. Some of you are gonna line up, get close to a box, and kind of stall out right before they actually take off because you're gonna feel a little bit scared, a little bit nervous. All you need to do is just reduce the height. All right, so that could be a smaller box. It can even be a bumper plate. It doesn't have to be a box. It can be an aerobic step. Whatever is comfortable for you and meets you where you're at is going to be perfectly acceptable and accomplish the same benefits. All right, so you might be right here. And it looks silly, but I've had people do this. You're here, you jump up, land. And then once you get comfortable, step up to whatever the next level is that you can manage and repeat the same movement. And then finally, you can get to higher and higher boxes. Now, what you don't want to do is, let's say you're really proficient with box jumps, just increasing the height of the box for no reason. All right, so a lot of people will stack up these boxes and have these really cool social media videos. But what I want to see is, I want to see you start and land in the same position. If you get really powerful and you get really flexible and you're stacking up boxes and you're landing like this, all that means is that you're using your hip mobility, you're just bringing your legs up higher, not necessarily jumping higher. And so don't think that the higher the box, the better the movement is. At a certain point, once you kind of tap out on those gains, you can just do regular squat jumps, you can do regular tuck jumps as a way to progress. One more quick note about box jumps in terms of sets and reps. I like to program 3 to 4 sets of 5 reps with 30 seconds rest in between sets, and that's really all you need for box jumps on a weekly basis. All right, so move number 3 is going to be the deficit lunge to knee drive. So what you're gonna do with this one is you're gonna step, let's say your right foot up on the plate. Now this can be a 2-inch elevation, a 4-inch elevation, just something that's slightly elevated. And then from there, you're gonna lunge back into a traditional reverse lunge and then drive up. You're gonna push explosively into this front leg to drive up, skip, and then come right back down. All right, so this is a reverse lunge to knee drive. Let me just show you a few reps. All right, let me show you from this side too. Again, right here, just traditional reverse lunge. I push into the floor and come back down. All right, so the box jump is gonna be more of a bilateral jump off of 2 legs, right? This one is gonna be more of a unilateral jump where you're off of 1 leg. Now there's tons of benefits that we're getting here. In this bottom position, we're getting strengthening and explosive benefits on the front side, we're getting lengthening on the back, and then when we actually go into the skip, we're getting good flexion benefits on this side and a good triple extension at the very top. And if you think about it, anytime you're gonna try to run or try to sprint, you're gonna be in this position, you're gonna be pushing off from this split stance and then driving into flexion and extension on the other side, right? And so this is just a great way to mimic that pattern. You don't really get it if all you're doing is traditional bilateral jumps. We want to be in positions where we actually split our stance and be in a more explosive position. All right, now, obviously this is pretty advanced for a lot of people. So if that's you, all you need to do is step off of the plate. All right, so you can just be on the floor and just do reverse lunge into a knee drive. All right, if that's still too difficult, all you need to do, instead of lunging all the way down, you can just split your stance a little bit. So you can be right here, drive up, all right? Or you can be right here and just simply drive up, drive up. Basically a power skip in place. But again, just a great way to get single leg benefits while in a split position and gets you away from traditional bilateral jumping, which are still really beneficial, obviously, but just a good way to mix things up. Now, as far as sets and reps go, I like to go 2 to 3 sets of 5 reps on each side, again with 30 seconds rest in between sets. All right, so move number 4 is going to be the speed skater. Now, we've gone over pogo hops, we've gone over box jumps, we've gone over reverse lunge to knee drives. These are all very straightforward in the sagittal plane, but we want to be able to move laterally as well. This is where the speed skater comes in. So the speed skater is basically just a lateral bound in one direction, followed by a lateral bound in this direction. All right, so how we first teach a speed skater is we like to teach it with a stick. And so what's gonna look like is you'd be right here, you drive over to the other side and you stick the landing, all right? Or you try to stick the landing at least. And then from there, you come back. You drive and you stick the landing. And this just helps to maintain and hone in on technique and form. Now, over time, you can start to move a little bit more dynamically. And we like to start with small distances at first, rather than trying to get to the edge of your ability. So that might look like this. It's helpful to have some sort of line. Maybe you can have like a resistance band placed on the floor, but all you wanna do is just go back and forth like that. And you're staying on the balls of your feet. And as you're doing this, you're trying to send your hips back and loading your glutes, your hips, before going back to the other side. All right, so it's a very smooth, rhythmic motion, and then as you get more and more comfortable, you go further and further distances. Eventually to the point where you can even hold a medicine ball or light weight as you go back and forth from side to side. But we love this movement. Again, moving laterally, side to side. We're exploring these ranges of motion, which are so helpful for everyday life, for sports, things like that. And when you're going and you're landing in this position, you're getting a ton of benefit in these unconventional positions. So you get these positions where your knee and your ankle and your foot are in these more collapsed positions, which aren't ideal when you're strength training or doing like bilateral lifting, but they're very ideal in everyday life and in athletics. And so being able to train this push-off position in this position in a positive shin angle can be really beneficial and carries over to your everyday life from a very functional standpoint. Now, but these are a little bit impactful on the knees, so if that's you, all you need to do is just simply think about it more of like a glide. So you glide, bring your foot to the other side, and you glide, bring your foot to the other side. So it's more like an extended glide or shuffle than a leaping, bounding speed skater. Now, I like to do this speed skaters for 2 to 3 sets of 8 repetitions on each side with 30 to 45 seconds rest in between sets. All right, so with pogo hops, with box jumps, and with reverse lunge to knee drives, we're being very vertical with our power output. With the speed skaters, we're much more lateral. Now we want to go with horizontal output with our 5th and final exercise, which is going to be the broad jump. It's pretty straightforward. You're gonna get into a similar position as you did for the box jump, except you're a little bit more hinged. And then from there, you're just jumping as far forward as possible while maintaining good landing mechanics. So it's gonna be like this. You're here, you jump forward, and then you land. And then you just step back. Or if you have the space, you can keep jumping forward. But again, you're here, a little bit more of a hinge as opposed to the box jump where you're a little bit more upright. You're hinged back because you're trying to cover as much horizontal distance as possible. So you're here, jump, and then you land. All right, so when you're first starting out with this movement, again, it can be a little bit intimidating. Don't worry about the distance. Just shorten the stride a little bit. So you might be here, you jump, and just get just a small distance covered and land properly, and then just walk it back. And then as you get more and more comfortable, obviously you can increase distance and distance over time. But this is just a great way to incorporate horizontal power output instead of most of the traditional plyos and power development movements that you see online. tend to be more vertical in nature. So this is just a great way to make sure that you have your bases covered. Now with the broad jump, we like to do 3 sets of 5 reps with 30 to 45 seconds rest in between sets. All right, that's all I have for you today. Those are my top 5 plyometric and power development moves that I do on a weekly basis in order to gain explosive strength and stay functional. Now, if you're interested in this type of training where we're blending athleticism, mobility, and functional training seamlessly all into one program, you can download a sample week of workouts in the description box below. And now besides that, we've got plenty of more videos to come in the realm of mobility training, athleticism, and functional strength training. So if you like this video, make sure you like it down below, make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.